All right, welcome back to another episode of the Cody Tucker Show. As always, I am your host, Cody Tucker. Today, I am joined by a very special guest, Miss Ariel Darling. How are you doing?
Doing good.
Good, good. I really appreciate you coming on. Been looking forward to talking with you.
I have two. This is the first interview I think I've agreed to. I've only gotten like 3 offers. One was for like a daytime drama television show. And I was like, oh, no,
Okay.
I don't want to be on that. I
Oh
tried
my
to like
God.
on a Dr. Phil or something.
Oh, is that what it was? Like something similar to
It's
that?
like similar.
I mean, to talk about what? I mean, to talk about like probably what I'm going to talk about or
They wanted to talk to like people that were strippers whose like family didn't approve of what they did. And I was like, oh,
okay.
well, that doesn't really apply to me for one. And two, after I've looked at your show, I don't think I want to be on it.
Yeah, there's something real like slimy about a lot of those like daytime shows. And I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know any of these people, so who knows? Maybe Dr. Phil's a great guy. I don't know. And not just to, shit on Dr. Phil, but like it just comes across as very like I don't know what's the word like when it not exposing, but like
Kind of seems
manipulative
like,
or
yeah, like they're exploiting people
exploiting.
for
Yes. Yes,
views.
it's very exploitative. That's how it comes across. And then the stories you hear, you're just like, Jesus Christ, like them getting people drunk backstage so that they
Oh
say
God.
the crazier stuff. Like, oh fuck me. Like, yeah, it's I don't know. I just have no respect for that kind of stuff. Like and the idea of like fitting in like a segment in between commercial breaks is like, oh my God. Like we're gonna talk to this dude about his, wife who's been cheating on him for the past 20 years. Oh, and by the way, here's a commercial for fucking paper
Exactly.
towels. Yeah.
Kind of makes me think of like I listen to a lot of podcasts and then we talk about something kind of fucked up and then like you get an ad right after that for like Squarespace or like coffee or something that's really chipper and happy.
Oh,
Like right after they talked about someone cutting up a body and you're like,
yeah.
oh, I don't like
Oh,
this.
I'm the same. I listen to like I have just a huge true crime
Mhm.
obsession, which is that kind of like what
Yeah.
you yeah. Like I've always been fascinated by like serial killers and like the horror theme of just anything. So like scary
Mhm.
music, serial killer stuff like that. Mostly from like a psychological viewpoint, Like why the hell did this guy decide to just start killing people? Like that has always been fascinating to me. But it is interesting whenever you hear about like the 38th victim and then there's a commercial for like Manscaped.
Yeah.
Like
Like, this is a little jarring. A big
yeah.
change.
Oh my God. Yeah. Speaking of, are you excited for Halloween? Halloween is
Oh,
coming up.
I'm so excited. I have like I think multiple costumes to wear when I go to like the strip club because
Hmm.
that's what I do like 50% of the time. And then I'm going to like an industry Halloween party. It's my first industry party, and I'm going
Okay.
as Lord Farquaad from Shrek.
Nice. Nice. Well, if you need a giant ogre, here I am.
I was between Lord Farquaad or like the sexy Shrek. I was like, do I want to paint my body green? I don't know. I decided I
Hmm.
didn't want to.
It's a good point. Yeah. Jesus. Lord Farquaad's a good one though. But how tall are you?
I'm 5'7", so I'm gonna
Man, you're
have to
pretty
like get
tall.
on my knees. I'm thinking maybe gluing some shoes to my knees so I can just walk around like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, I mean, it's impossible to tell how tall someone is from a video, but like you seem somewhat tall, so I was like, Jesus, Lord Farquaad. I mean,
I like tower over everyone.
yeah, I mean, you're definitely no Shrek, I'll tell you that, but Lord Farquaad, my God. So, oh yeah, before we dive deep into this, go ahead and promote like anything you'd like. Like, where can people find you, find your content? anything new coming out, like all that stuff.
Yeah. Most of my content I post about on Twitter, which is just Ariel Darling triple X. That's the easiest way to like post anything, just because Instagram gets me in trouble a lot for soliciting. So
Yeah,
I
no
can't like post
shit.
a lot about videos on there.
Instagram is terrible about that. Like it is insane how many times you see people just getting their accounts shut down for nothing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and Twitter you can show. I mean, I went on your Twitter earlier and I was like, "Oh shit, okay."
Yeah, you
Like
can
thank
post a
God I'm not.
lot on there.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, "Oh my God, thank God I'm not at church or something."
No, I have like three separate Instagrams because like one's just for or not Instagrams, Twitters. That
Yeah,
way, if I like want to browse and not see like someone's asshole, I can you go on the safe one.
that is a great point because I don't know how many times I've been at like a coffee shop or like a restaurant, pulled out my phone, not even thinking, like,
Yeah,
just
you're
seeing,
just like,
oh, what's
oh,
going on? Who just messaged me on Twitter? And then back out, and then there's just somebody, like, there's a fist in someone's ass.
just
I'm like,
taking
oh,
it.
all right, I'll take the blooming onion. Like, yeah, like it is. Oh, it's not good. My God. So, I mean, how often do you shoot content?
I try to shoot like stuff for my OnlyFans maybe like every 2 weeks, and then for like professional, it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
And I could not work for 2 weeks, and then I could get like four jobs in a row for a whole week. Like last
Okay.
week, I think I shot for Girlfriends, Lethal Hardcore, um, and then two other ones where I didn't ask them beforehand if it's okay that I promote it before it comes out. So those I'm not gonna
Okay.
say, but
Okay. I got
just
you.
so I don't want to get in
Yeah.
trouble.
Yeah, no worries. So, did you start? I mean, I assume you probably did, but did you start by like stripping and then that kind of like worked its way into doing like porn, like more mainstream porn?
Kind of like I've been
Yeah.
stripping for 6 years. I never really thought about doing porn, and then some like recruiter for an agency messaged me on Instagram, and I was like, "Hey, no offense, but have you ever thought about doing porn?" And I was like, I've never thought about doing porn, so I kind of like sat on it for a long time, and I was like, I'm gonna see where this goes. I'm gonna see if this is
Yeah.
legit. I might get kidnapped. Let's find out.
That is a great way to dive into a career path. Like,
Yeah,
I may get kidnapped. Let's just see.
I I watched. I don't know if you've seen it. The movie X.
Oh my God.
I
It
watched
is
that the
amazing.
night before I did my first one, and I was like, this probably wasn't the best thing to watch before going to
Hell
shoot porn
no.
for the first time.
God damn, that's like watching Titanic before you go on a cruise ship.
It was good though,
Yeah.
and it was
No, X is great. Yeah.
I'm still alive, so obviously it wasn't anything like the movie.
Congratulations. Blink twice if you need help. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. No, it's a great movie. Everyone I know fucking hated it because I don't know if they get it or if maybe I just don't get it, but I thought it was great. I was like, this movie is incredible. But
I
yeah.
thought it was good, but I don't know. I guess maybe some people expected a lot more out of it being like an A24 movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, it's
Yeah.
kind of a fun, more I don't know, a fun version of like a slasher. But I love slashers, so I didn't need
Exactly.
anything like fancy or a plot twist or anything
Right.
traumatic. I just liked it was straightforward. I liked it.
No, exactly. It's like a modern version of like those like just super cheesy, campy
Mhm.
80s like slasher movies. And if you go into it like expecting that, then you're gonna love that movie. Which that's
Exactly.
kind of what I was thinking. I was like, oh, this is gonna be, pretty cheesy, like kind of like a vintage feel to it. And I thought it was fucking incredible. But yeah. No, so I mean, I know like going from stripping to porn is probably like I can see the like line, to go
Mhm.
from one to the other. But like what kind of like talk did you have to have with yourself of being like, okay, I don't know, like I mean stripping is one thing, but porn is so much more, I mean, well, way more accessible. I mean, unless they
Mhm.
go to like the club you're at, they would never really even know, what that you were stripping. So did you have to have the like conversation of like, okay, this is kind of a big decision? Or did it seem like a good fit, like pretty quick?
I had to think about it. My immediate thought was like, yeah, let's get into it. I'll do this. But I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm a little impulsive sometimes. Let me sit on it. So I thought about it for 2 months because, like you said, it's more easily accessible. Dancing, nowadays doesn't always have like a whole lot of stigma around it that it used
Hmm.
to, or at least like in my inner circles.
Yeah.
So I've always been pretty straightforward. Like my friends all know, my immediate family knows it's not really a big deal. Porn though, I was like, that one's gonna be a bigger deal. Uh,
Yeah.
like I'm gonna get in a lot more trouble for that one when
Exactly.
everyone finds out about that. So I don't think like, is it worth it? Um,
Yeah.
so far I've decided yes.
Okay.
No one that in my personal life that I would hate to find out
Hmm.
has found out yet. So my goal is
Okay.
just to have something like really cool to show off by the time they find out. Like I'd be like, look,
Okay.
I know I do this thing that you hate, but I have a new house. Or like, so I don't know. Just like, look at what it got me.
No,
Something like that.
success will definitely put people back, and as far as
Mhm.
judgment, like judging what you're doing. Like if
Exactly.
like like for me, like doing comedy, like everybody thinks I'm, oh, so you just want to be unemployed your whole life. It's like, well, sort of,
Such a shitty
but
thing to say.
well, yeah, well, come over for Thanksgiving, you'll hear some wild shit. So but yeah, you hear that, and then I think like, well, if I ever am successful at it, like enough to have like a really nice house or nice cars, like those like material successes, it's just interesting to see how people will back away from that like judgment. They're like, oh,
Right.
well, comedy, that's great and all, or porn, that's great and all, but I mean, you seem to be doing all right, so yeah, it helps, I think, a lot. But do you worry about it, like about people finding out? Or is it just kind of like if it happens, it happens?
I worry quite a bit, to be honest. Like,
Okay.
I've had some like acquaintances find out,
Yeah.
and that's not really a big deal. Um, my Instagram for my porn account was my stiffer account that some of my friends in real life followed. So I was kind of like, you know what? I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to let them figure it out on their own.
Yeah.
Not what I didn't really care about. That's what my parents. So like every time I get a missed call from my mom, I'm like, does she know? And like I part of me wants to
Yeah.
ask like other, people in the industry, like, so how do you handle that? But then as like a stripper, I always hate the question like, oh, what do your parents think about what you do? And I'm like, that's so
Yeah, yeah,
patronizing. I don't want to ask people that, even though
for
I'm like, I
sure.
really do want to know because I don't know what mine are gonna think.
Well, see, I think the difference though is like what you're coming from when you ask that question. Because if you're
Mhm.
asking like, oh, what do your parents think? You're already in your head like you're being an asshole.
Right.
But if you're genuinely wondering like, how do you navigate the family dynamic of it? That's to me, a completely different way of questioning it.
You
Like
make a good point there.
general curiosity is never a bad thing.
Mhm.
Like curiosity out of like judgment and just being a dick is not great. So like, cause like I'll ask that question, with some of the times like with talking to people who are in like the porn industry, like, how the hell do you deal with like a relationship or like what is that like? But it's not because I'm like judging you for being in
Yeah,
porn.
it's not like, oh, I bet no one wants to date you, huh? Let's
Yeah, no,
like, hey, I just generally know because it probably is
exactly
hard.
right. And I'm genuinely curious as to like what that is like. Like, I mean, I'm sure with you, are there people who think a certain way about you just because you're in porn or because like you like
Oh,
strip, like all those things? Like, are there people who are just like maybe they approach you differently than they would someone who worked at like fucking Red Lobster?
mhm. No, that happens like a good amount of the time. Like I
Yeah,
think for a while dating, I would kind of wait and like wait a couple dates before saying it. That way people could like not to hide it, but so they
yeah,
could get to know me for me before assigning like any judgment to it. And then I tell them
right,
before they commit because they deserve to know that. And if
yeah,
they're not comfortable, not pursue a relationship. But I want to give them like the opportunity to not have that judgment out there.
yeah. Well, I think that there's just a thing with guys a lot of the times where it's always like a fantasy for us to date someone who is in
Mhm.
porn, but the reality is, I think, like completely different than what is in our fantasy. As hard as that is to believe, but like I just don't. I think the guys who say like, oh, I would love to do that, probably do not have the like self assurance and self
Oh yeah,
confidence to handle that. You know?
Yeah, you have to be really, really secure in yourself and your relationship. And I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with someone if they're like, I don't know if I could handle that. Because I
Yeah,
prefer you be honest with yourself if that's
right.
something you couldn't handle. Because it is a lot. But yeah, you gotta be like really secure and really understanding of like, even though that is a physically intimate thing,
Hmm.
doesn't necessarily mean it's intimate. It's
Right.
work.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Like, have you always been a pretty confident person? Or do you think you've gained confidence by doing it? Or do you even think you're confident now? You know what I mean?
I think I'm gaining more confidence all the
Uh-huh.
time. Like I don't know, whenever I started dancing, I still have like social anxiety, but I had really, really severe social anxiety, like
Yeah.
panic attacks, thinking of having to go interact with people type of anxiety.
Yeah.
And dancing for a while, I was like, okay, I have to go talk to people if I want to make money. So
Right.
after like so many years of doing that, I'm kind of like, I still get anxious, but like I'm a little bit more secure in
Yeah.
myself.
Well, it's also, to me, it seems like part, because I have it too. Like I can do like comedy on stage or something,
Mhm.
or even like this. I mean, I'm pretty fucking awkward in this situation too, but like I'm very bad at one-on-one conversations as far as like keeping cool and all that. And I have
Mhm.
massive panic attacks all the time. But it seems like if you're ever in a situation where you kind of have the upper hand, it's so much easier. And if you're the dancer at the club, you probably
Exactly.
have like there's already this inherent upper hand that you have over the like guy or girl that you're talking to, you know?
Yeah, that hasn't translated to like every social situation,
Uh-huh.
but definitely in the strip club, I'm like, look, they're here for me to come talk to them, so it's okay.
Exactly.
And then half the time people don't listen to what I say, so it's like if I put my foot in my mouth and say something stupid, they're just like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're so pretty." I'm like, interesting reaction
Yeah.
there. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, for sure. But also, like, do you ever kind of adopt like a persona? You know what I mean? Like even not like in a mentally unstable way, but like in a way of like, I am super attractive. I am confident. Like I'm gonna go talk to this person. You know what I mean? Like psyching yourself up in a good way.
Yeah. Um, I haven't managed to do it for stripping. Like I've always wanted
Hmm.
to like get in the headset of like maybe putting on a character. Like
Yeah.
I'm someone else in this moment and like I can be confident and I can do whatever. I've never managed to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Um on set, it's a little different, especially like if they give me a script or something. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a good actor. I know I'm not a good actor at all, but I
Yeah.
really like getting into like the headspace because then I feel like,
Hmm.
oh, I'm not me. I have this
Yeah.
character with this lines and this motivation, and it makes me feel so much like better. Like
Yeah.
usually by the end of a like the start of a scene whenever I get on set, I'm always so awkward because I don't know most of the people in the industry yet. I haven't been doing it for long. And so it's kind of like awkward, like, oh, I don't want to shove myself in conversations. Then by the end of it, I'm like, way more talkative because I've
Yeah.
been this character for like 3 hours.
Yeah. Well, there is something to it. There's the like fake it till you make it.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is definitely something to that of just saying, "Oh no, I am a confident person," despite the fact that 10 minutes ago you're having a fucking breakdown.
Oh
Like
yeah.
just telling yourself, like, "Hey, no, I am confident." It works for a pretty good amount of time. Like there's still going to be some stuff that kind of creeps in, but it makes a difference, or at least it does to me. I know I've noticed that
It
for
absolutely
sure.
does. Like I've had a
Yeah.
few times where I go in the locker room, I'm sad he's not having a bad night, and I'm that crazy person that looks in the mirror and I'm like, you're gonna do good. You're gonna do good tonight. Everyone's gonna be nice to you. Everyone's gonna like you. You're awesome. You're great. And then I go out there and I'm like, God, no one saw me do that.
But does it work? I
It
mean, it
does work.
works,
It
doesn't it?
works. It makes me
Yeah,
feel a lot better.
I know. See, there's this thing of like, because athletes do it too, which it
Mhm.
translates to everything, but they just meditate on the visual of them succeeding. And that's it. So, like, if they're like a basketball player, only, all they think about is like replaying the shot, the 3-point shot over and over and over. And there isn't like a replaying of like failure. It's only
Mhm.
success. So when they go out and do it, they've already been there like 1,000 times. And I think that it kind of works for like social interactions or even like, with you doing like, you know, like all this content, like it makes a difference, and it actually kind of is pretty effective. Yeah, that's really it. So, I mean, is it kind of hard to see like yourself on camera and like have, there's just like all this shit about like body positivity where, I mean, for a long ass time, women have been told to like have these certain standards and like adhere to those standards. But like, do you think it's like porn or dancing too kind of helps eliminate some of those like just intense standards? Like whenever you see your body, are you a little bit more accepting of like, hey, like I look really fucking good?
It kind of goes back and forth a lot, to be honest. I think
Mhm.
overall it's helped. Um, like there's sometimes where I see like myself in videos or pictures and like sometimes you get put in kind of weird positions and your stomach rolls, show, and I'm like, oh, I don't like
Yeah.
that. But then you watch like other people's videos and you're like, oh, their bodies do that too. That's just what your
Right.
stomach does.
Yeah.
Or like things I'd be self-conscious about, I'll see multiple other people with like whatever it is, like a
Hmm.
little bit of peach fuzz or a little bit of a stomach or whatever. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's fine. Like you see naked, I see naked people like all the time. So
Right.
it's very normalized to me where I'm like, oh yeah, we're just no one looks like absolutely perfectly flawless.
Well, that helps too, like the exposure, because
Mm-hmm.
there's just this. I mean, I don't know if it's just an American thing, but it certainly seems that of this taboo of like being naked. Like it's probably from like the puritanical bullshit
Oh
of
yeah.
like being out here, but it's just there's like so much shame around like how you look naked, regardless, like male or female. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so like I know like whenever I'm going to like take a shower, if I catch a glimpse of myself in the mirror, I'm like, holy fuck. like I'm telling myself to put a shirt on. Like, 'cause I'm like, this is not good. But I think porn does a lot for kind of giving like a little bit of empowerment against that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people, the people who are anti-porn or claim to be, want to like make it seem that there's just nothing good that can come out of it, but it certainly seems like it makes way more positivity towards like how people look and like being super empowered about like your body.
Mm-hmm. I
Like,
feel like it's in a weird way, it's kind of exciting knowing that like everybody is admired for their body in some capacity.
yeah.
Like you look on the front page of Pornhub and you'll see like really, really teeny tiny petite girls. You'll see like girls have body types that are, the
Hmm.
kind of hourglass shape that'd be considered really attractive or in right now. And
Yeah,
you
yeah,
see like bigger women, you see older women, younger women. Same with the men. Well, you don't see as much of the men, but
yeah,
you like might see their stomach in like a shot or
yeah,
something.
yeah,
They're not
yeah,
like all super buff guys. It's a little bit more
for
of a
sure.
variety. So it's kind of like, oh, like these are all people that are successful and people want to watch them naked
Oh
and they don't
yeah,
all look the same.
yeah. Oh, definitely. I think that, I mean, for one, people who are like against porn are usually they're hiding something really bad.
Mhm.
like they do not want to admit anything. Like I don't believe in any of the ideas of like guilty pleasures. Like I think if you enjoy something, you should be super open about enjoying it. Like whether it's music or like what
Mhm.
you're into like sexually. So like whenever you started, did you kind of have like a list of things like these are the things that I'm not interested in doing? Like I'll do porn for sure, but I'm
Mhm.
not doing X, Y, and Z. Like did you have that kind of list in your head?
Yeah, there's a so like at the agency that I sign with, they kind of give you like a little list of like, okay, here's
Hmm.
in general what you would be asked to do. What is what are you willing to do? And like think really, really hard about it. Don't say you're gonna do something that you are not gonna do. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay. For me, it was like double penetration, just because maybe one day, but I'm not that comfortable putting that many things in my holes right now.
same.
And I think it was so they put like BDSM stuff on there or like
Okay.
BDSM and fetish, and I was like, I mean, that's kind of vague. I'm not opposed to all of that. And like,
Yeah.
okay, well, if you want to know what kind of content you'd probably get hired for, if you mark that as yes, it said go to kink.com and just look at all the different categories on there. And like, if you're okay with the majority of them, you can go ahead and mark that. And I looked and I was like, there's like 3 things on here I'm cool with. That's gotta be a no for me. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not getting pissed on. I'm not like torturing someone. Like,
Yeah. No, see, that's, and hey, this is a no shame place here,
yeah,
but
I'm gonna say if anyone's into that, that is
no,
totally
no,
cool. But
no,
like, I know I would just be like, I don't know
no.
about this the whole
I
time.
look, I don't get it at all. I mean, if two consenting adults are cool with like just beating the hell out of each other, whatever. But it is, I'm just way more into, I don't know, there's something about it. It just seems like degrading. And I know that it's not like, or not degrading for the actresses in the scene. Like she's choosing to do this, but like,
Yeah.
I can't get over it. I don't know. Maybe that's just like a hang up on my part, but I don't want to see somebody like that feels like they're degraded. I don't know. It just
That's
is weird to me.
I was actually trying to describe like this exact thing the other day. Like, I feel like if it's something you genuinely want to do and you are
Yeah.
genuinely cool with it and you're doing it for you, or for the camera, but partially for you,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
that's fine. If you're doing it just to earn the money, which like that's not necessarily a bad thing, because I don't want to act
Mhm.
like all sex workers are in sex work because they love sex. But
Right. Right.
I don't know. I'm just like, some of the things you would have to go through if you're just like, I don't care as long as I get paid. Like, I don't feel like that'd be worth it. That was
No.
my big fear with like, I was like, I think I could be like a dominatrix. And like, if someone
Yeah.
wanted to be whipped, but I'm like, but what if they didn't really want to be whipped? They just wanted the paycheck, and I'm beating this poor guy that's like, when is this over? I just want my money. Like, I would feel so bad if he was
Yeah.
actually into it. I'd try it, but I'm like, I wouldn't know for sure on the set, and that makes me nervous.
Yeah. No shit. Like I can't handle physical pain at all. Like I am such a wimp when it comes to stuff like that. Like there's just I like there's no sexual connection to that for me at all. Like to me, pain is like, oh, I got a paper cut. This fucking hurts.
Mm-hmm.
It in no way am I stimulated from that. Like the last thing I'm thinking of is sex whenever I like, bust my head open. Like yeah, this is not turning me on one bit.
I'm
But
too sensitive. Like,
yeah,
I think one time someone was like, "Oh, do you want me to like? Can I try slapping you?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, go for it. I've never tried that." And they slapped me, and they kept going. I was like, "Did you like that?" And I said, "No, not really. Don't do that again." I was like, "I tried it once.
yeah.
I'm okay with trying most things once, but after like that one time, I'm like,
Yeah, see,
nah."
I'm kind of the same way. Like I'll try like if I'm with somebody and they want to try something, I'm like, yeah,
Mhm.
fuck it, like let's do it. But I will be very quick to say, I don't like this.
Yeah.
like, nah, no thanks. I don't know. I mean, just what's like a kink slash fetish that besides that you just like do not understand? Like for me, I bring it up quite a bit, but like foot fetishes, don't fucking get it at all.
I that's one I don't really get. It's like it's such a common one,
Yeah.
but I just don't understand like the mental connect with like seeing that and finding it
Yeah.
like sexually pleasing. Like, I don't know, I always kind of wondered about that, and so for a while I had this fear of like, if I masturbated with like something on in the background, I'm like, okay,
Uh-huh.
I have to turn whatever this is off, because what if I accidentally give myself some sort of weird fetish? Like, my brain is just like, oh yeah, every time South Park is on, you're gonna get horny now just because you started masturbating during South Park. Like,
That is
that's
incredible.
probably not how that happens, but
Okay, look, I have had that exact same thought because, like, oh my god, this is fucking embarrassing. So I was watching I can't remember what I was watching some like horror movie,
Mhm.
and it was just on in the background. But then I started like looking through porn or whatever, started kind of like going at, and then like there was a sound of like a woman screaming in the background, and I was like, hold the fuck up. I was
You're
like,
like, I don't want to associate
no,
this with that.
I was like, I don't know if that's how this works, but I am turning this damn TV off. Like one of these things has to go away right now. And in the moment, I was like, well, I can watch this movie later. But I was like, oh shit, like this woman screaming. I was sitting there, I was like, oh, this can't be healthy. Like there's no
I'm really
way.
glad I'm not the only one that's thought that, because I've always wondered, like, how do you, I don't know, get into like certain things? Is it just like something your brain makes like a connection at some point in your life, or is it just kind
Yeah.
of like how we all like the taste of different things? It's just your body's everyone's a little bit different for no real reason.
Well, that's a good point. See, I've always thought of it as just being strictly psychological in a
Mm-hmm.
um like it's like almost like the Freudian idea of like something happened in when you were a little kid and now you are acting out on it sexually as an adult. But there's got to be certain things that you're just born into, you know? Like it can't just all be based on like, oh, one time when I was 5, I saw, a woman like painting her toes. Now that turns me on. Like, you know what I mean? Like it can't just
Yeah.
all be based on that. But yeah, what's like a kink or fetish that you would like to do? Like as far as like shooting scenes, like is there one like kind of like a bucket list of like, oh, I would love to make that kind of content?
Um, I don't have a whole lot of things I really thought too much about.
Hmm.
Because I'm pretty like go with the flow. But one thing I absolutely want to do eventually, like top bucket list, have to do it someday. I want to do like parody porn or something where like I get the opportunity to like dress up
Okay.
as a character from like a movie
Yeah.
or a TV show. I would absolutely love to do that.
Okay. What character are you going with? Like if you could shoot one tomorrow, whatever you wanted, budgets no problem, whatever. What movie or show or whatever would you go with?
Uh, the generic answer I want to say is Mary Jane, but I'm thinking like if we were
Okay.
just gonna get real weird with it
Yeah,
and
whatever
like
you
could do
want.
anything, I
Yeah.
think a Doctor Who one would be really fun, and I could be like Amy Pond. I think
Nice.
that would be fun.
Yeah.
Just have sex in the TARDIS.
That is not a bad way to go at all. I mean, has there been I mean, of course there has. Like if you could think of it, there's a porn of it, but I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more like Mary Jane
Oh,
porn
probably.
than Doctor Who porn.
I was supposed to dress up kind of not like in character as Mary Jane, but I was
Mhm.
supposed to have a scene where it was like I someone in the scene was gonna be like a comic book nerd. It's probably supposed to be my
Okay.
stepson. I did a lot of stepson stuff. And
Nice.
then like I was gonna dress up to like seduce him. So I was gonna dress up as Mary Jane and be like, oh, look at me, I'm one of your hot comic characters. But they got all the clothes and they were like, yeah, no, Disney's gonna sue our ass. We can't use any of
Yeah,
this.
no shit. Yeah, that has to be a like that has to be a real tricky part of it. Like you could probably only go so far before.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. It's actually a good idea for a porn though. I mean, it's not it's not bad. I've seen worse for sure, but yeah, that's really goddamn that's interesting. Those are like kind of some of my favorite kinds of like porn to watch too is like parody of like movies like cuz
Mhm.
anything that's like funny. So I there's a whole avenue in porn of like romance porn where it's like very like soap opera-ish and like
Oh yeah.
and I it does nothing for me. Like I want it to be like cheesy and dumb. Like that's way more fun. Like the meme of like Lisa Ann is like the lifeguard and he's in like a
I didn't realize
bathtub.
that was her. I haven't seen that in like
Yeah,
I was thinking about that the other day where she's like, get out of the water. And he's like, what?
exactly.
There's a shark. I'm in the bathtub. It's so
Yes. No,
ridiculous.
that's my favorite. I like that kind of stuff. Like I want it to be so ridiculously like just dumb. Like cuz I know it's not real. So don't try to make it
Might as well be goofy.
exactly. Like that's so much more fun to me than like I don't want to see somebody like I don't want there to be candles lit anywhere in the
Mhm.
scene. Like no candles, no roses. Like he shouldn't be wearing a tuxedo. Fuck that. Like have
No
this dude in a
romance.
exactly have this dude in a bathtub thinking that there's a shark in it. Like I am 100% into this. If you could do a scene with any celebrity, who would it be?
Like porn star or just like any
No, 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 like
celebrity?
a celebrity. Celebrity. Yeah, yeah, like outside of porn.
Jensen Ackles. Definitely.
Nice. Fellow Texas fellow. Yeah, yeah. Damn, Jensen Ackles. Who was your? Did you have like a childhood crush as a kid?
Ooh. I'm trying to think of one that's a real human being and not like a TV cartoon
That is not.
character.
Holy shit. That is not how I thought that answer would start. But okay.
I was like a big weeb in junior high, so like all my crushes were like anime characters.
Oh man,
Um, I
I
think
can. Yeah. I'm
I did
sorry. Go
have
ahead.
like a picture because I used to get like these little magazines
Uh
whenever
huh.
I was younger, where like you could they have special cutouts of like male actors and movie stars that were like young because it's for like preteens that you can hang
Yeah,
up in your
yeah.
locker. So in my locker, I had like pictures of a what are their real names? Dylan and Cole Sprouse and
Oh
like
my
a couple
god,
other
yeah, yeah.
Disney
Zach and
guys.
Cody.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. See, I always had like as a kid, I had a huge crush on like any woman who seemed very like domineering. So like Lil Kim and like
Mhm.
Carmen Electra, like that kind of avenue. But I just watched that Paris Hilton documentary, which I don't know if you've seen it, but it is fucking incredible. And I forgot like how much of a thing I had for Paris Hilton as a kid, but I have way more of one now because like she's completely different now. But it's very interesting, like yeah, to go back and explore some of those like oh these were the people who were like hot when we were young.
Right.
It's like
And it's
holy shit.
I feel like Paris Hilton is especially interesting too because she's actually like I don't know. I feel like back when she was, I guess, like in her prime or like on TV all the time, it
Yeah.
was kind of like, oh, she's kind of a dumb bimbo, but she's actually like, really, really intelligent and does like a lot of
Yes.
activist work and stuff and things like
Yeah.
you wouldn't even know about.
No, exactly. That's like the documentary is about her like activism against like these basically like boarding schools,
Yeah,
but
so
that
say it
are
was one of the schools
like
she
the
went to,
Provost
right?
school is the one that she went to. But yeah, I was like, this is fucking fascinating. But it just goes to like misconceptions of people. But
Mhm.
obviously hers was in a sense like a self-induced
Right.
misconception because I mean she was putting on the voice and like she doesn't talk like that at all. She actually has kind of like a deep voice, which is another thing I'm super into, which there's probably some Freudian shit behind that too. But like, yeah, I just misconceptions are fascinating to me of just like how they originate and like how people kind of break out of them because there's got to be misconceptions people have about you like and probably always will just because that's the nature of like any kind of adult entertainment or adult content. But I mean, does that in any way like kind of worry you of like oh these are what people are gonna like, and I'm not talking about like family or anything like
Mhm.
personal, but like just the random people, like do you worry about them like those kinds
Yeah,
of thoughts?
I think I think it makes me worry that people won't see me as like a full person and just
Yeah,
kind of like look at me like, oh, that's like a porn star. I feel like we see porn stars all the time because I mean almost everyone watches porn,
right.
but we don't really ever see them in like the context of like when they're not working. So like for
Yeah,
actors and actresses and stuff, like you see them on the screen and then they're stalked all the time perpetually. So you see like
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
about their personal life and you read about them and they're kind of like a little more human in a
Mhm.
sense. You don't really get that for porn stars unless like maybe if you follow their social media, but then half the time it's mostly promo stuff on there.
Right,
So
right. Yeah, I think there's sort of a thing in porn of like not wanting to show off like the real personality of
mhm.
like kind of keeping a facade of like the porn star, character,
Yeah.
which I mean, I guess there are people that that's what they want, but I'm the exact opposite. Like if there's like a porn star that I'm into, like I want to know like what are you like as a person? Like are you like what music do you like? Like those kind of things that I would want to know if like I was your friend, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's kind of nice having like these sort of conversations because like okay, so you're not just like a model basically who just puts pictures of like themselves on
Mhm.
Instagram all day every day. It's like no, like I would actually like much rather get to know like what you're like. But that's the thing with OnlyFans too. Like OnlyFans has done a lot for that, I think. Like I mean, so you have an OnlyFans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you connect like with fans like quite a bit through it, or is it more just like, oh, here's my content, you know?
I try to message people on it somewhat frequently. I am
Mhm.
like not the best about um answering stuff all the time. So
Yeah, yeah,
having like a Twitter and an Instagram and an OnlyFans and always getting messages is sometimes I'm like, I gotta take a break. This is a lot. But
yeah.
I like the OnlyFans because it seems like I get more like personal messages on there.
Hmm.
So I had someone who used to be like a regular customer of mine at my first strip club, and I don't think I've seen him in maybe like 5 years. And
Yeah,
he found my OnlyFans somehow and messaged me on there. And we were talking and catching up, and I was like, "Oh, this is nice. Like I've been wondering how you were doing,
yeah,
but I haven't seen you in a long time. I don't have any way to contact you, so that was nice. Like a nice little
yeah.
surprise."
Yeah, I think OnlyFans is such a great outlet. Like, especially for people who are in porn, like that is the ideal scenario, I think, for any like actress or actor. Like, is to be able to have like, self-produced content
Mhm.
where it's all directly between you and the fan. Like, there's no, third party really. I mean, unless you add in a third party, but like,
Right.
you can just do it by yourself and be super successful. Do you take requests? I know that's like a big thing that I didn't know about until like recently. Was it like there's like these like request avenues? It's like holy shit. But
I haven't really yet. I keep trying to think of like a way to model it. Like,
yeah.
okay, here's like the base price for every request, and depending on like how much effort what you ask for requires, like maybe it goes up a
Hmm.
little bit there. Just because I like to make things fair. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't want to give some like someone gives me something, and they're like, oh, can you shove a tennis ball up your ass? And I'm like, oh yeah, let me like maybe like $50. And someone else asks for something, I'm just like making up numbers in my head for no reason.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. Well, $50 for a tennis ball up the ass is a pretty good bargain. I'll have to say.
I feel like
Like,
what's weird. The only reason why I use that as an example is I think I saw someone doing that. Like I didn't like she'd like put them in there, and then her
uh,
ass would just disappear in there. And the whole time I was like, how are you gonna get those out? I How are you gonna get those out? People have
well,
gotten less stuck in their butt.
but to be fair, it is kind of an exit point, so that's probably the
That is
easier
true,
easier
but
part.
I've heard so many stories of people getting things stuck up there because it's not tapered and they can't push it out.
That's true. I have to. I've heard wild stories of people just like emergency room visits that are amazing.
Like a
Like,
Buzz Lightyear in the butt.
God. Well, I mean, if you're gonna stick any action figure up your ass, a Buzz Lightyear is kind of the most dick shaped. So, I mean, I don't
That's
know if
true.
that's what they were going for when they made him, but you know,
That's the one to go with.
yeah, my God, yeah, it's. I don't know. I just think the whole world is fascinating. Like being in porn, like all of it is just very interesting to me. But no, I mean, I know we're hitting the time mark, but so before we go, if you want to just promote everything again, just tell people where they can find you, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So again, my Twitter is just Ariel Darling, three X's at the end. My Instagram is the same, but two X's. And you can pretty much find everything from that because I have the whole link tree with everything. It makes it
Awesome.
easy.
All right, sounds good. Well, thank you so much. I really had a blast talking with you.
Yeah. Thank you. This is fun. It went by like really
Absolutely.
fast too.
Yeah, like way faster than I would have thought, but hey, this was awesome.